do you believe he truly loved you?
To be honest with you, I don't think so. I think he just loved the idea of having someone like me. I don't think there was God saying anything to me. I was just going with my feelings because I'm liking the guy. I was just like I was a grown girl. The doctors waited for the baby for me to have the natural maybe miscarriage. Yeah, and then 2 days later, I phoned the pastor and told him, "Guti, I lost the baby. This is what happened." And then he just asked me, "So when are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." It's like, "Okay, sharp."
And that's the end of it.
That was the end of it.
Hey family, welcome to the best podcast in Africa or the world, whatever you decide. I still think it's the best. Thank you for joining us for another episode once again. I want to plead with you to please subscribe, to please like this conversation, because when you do that, it helps us to keep on having more growth conversations, more conversations that are centered on healing our inner parts and healing the parts of our lives that sometimes we are scared to face. But let me not take much of your time. I have another wonderful, amazing guest. Amazed at her beauty. Sometimes when you see people on television, it doesn't, especially on a show that she was on, it highlights a lot of dramas rather than we get to see the authenticity of a person. Sisandiswa, welcome to Engineer Your Life. Finally.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
It's truly a pleasure. When we got the opportunity to have you, we were like, absolutely, without a doubt, because the conversation that you've been having, you're not unique as a woman, what you're going through. Guno Sisi, whose story has been doing the rounds with Dr. Celiwe Tata, and she's one of those people who boldly shared her story. Although she was ridiculed by many, she was judged harshly by many. But at the center of each story, there was truth. At the center of each story, there is pain. And how else are we going to fix society if we don't share the truth of what is happening and some of the relationships that we treasure so much? So this conversation will be treated with the sensitivity that it deserves, because we're a platform that believes that people's vulnerability must not be weaponized. How's your heart today?
Today, my heart is because it's different days, different emotions, but today is one of those days. I feel like I'm okay. I'm not in a bad space emotionally, but yeah, I'm fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Let's journey together towards making you feel like I'm better now. Usis Sandiswa is a beautiful woman who has a life before going on that television show. And I'd like us to explore that, because that television show is such a small aspect of your life. There's so much more to who you are. And even the repercussions of that show, there's so much more to who you are. Where is Usis Sandiswa born and under what type of parents?
Okay. Usandiswa was born in Cape Town by two parents. My parents were married but later separated. I grew up in Cape Town, between Cape Town and Eastern Cape, in a small town called Butterworth in the Eastern Cape. That's where my parents are coming from. But because my dad had to go and find umsebenzi in Cape Town, that's the reason why I was born in Cape Town. But I spent most of my life in Cape Town, moved to Joburg because of work, and yeah. And Sandiswa is... she's also an owner, by the way, of the online boutique store, which is called MS Boutique. I sell clothes like your sandals, which are handcrafted for men and ladies. And I've also been featured in many, like few actually, TV films, like actually like I don't know want to mention the names, but like few of them. Yeah.
Take me back to high school. Was it nice? Was high school easy? Was it an easy experience for you, or You know, for some of us, high school wasn't the best part of our lives.
I mean, in high school, to be honest with you, Lungelo, because I went to two different high schools. Um, the first one, I did not like it because I was bullied, because I grew up like having a big body for my age. Like,
Sure.
yeah, from the age of 11, I already had like breast, so there was a lot of like, of people not was saying, why is Wena Babele Mangaka at such a young age? Like I was always wearing a jersey, whether it's hot or cold at school, because I was trying to hide my body
Sure,
in
sure,
high
sure.
school. But then I after changing to the next one, which is the College of Cape Town, then that's where I got comfortable because I could see no one is body shaming anyone. So that's when I started to fall in love with my
Yeah,
body. Yes.
What was it? The rural areas that you grew up with, or did you grow up in the township? I'm just trying to understand where this body shaming was coming from, what type of environment you were in.
Okay, so I'm like in lower primary. I was in Emakaya, and that's where it started. Actually, the body shaming, because people, they were like, "Hey, well, she's only 11 years old, but like look at her breast and whatnot," and that's Makaya. That's where like it was bad. But then I moved to Cape Town. Then also like same thing happened in high school with the boys. We were like, like Amabela Mangaga is like she's a virgin, but look at her, she's lying. She's not a virgin. How can she has like such a big body and all of that? Yeah.
How did it affect you?
Oh, there was a time where I used to pray and ask God, God, can you please make my breast to disappear? Because I did not like it. Because I felt like there was, I don't know, man. Like I didn't like it. I just hated my body.
Felt deformed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Matric ends, and you have to make a decision about what's next for you in life. Do you think you knew what you wanted in life, or what did you actually want for yourself at the time?
Okay, after matric, because I grew up like I liked to design clothes like when I was younger. Like I was always like having a book next to me designing clothes, and if I have a top, I'll just cut one arm and just like to make it like the way I like it. So my family thought, Guti, no, she wants to be a designer. She's gonna be a designer. But deep down, I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
But then I went and studied designing. I did clothing production. But then with third year, I dropped out. I was like, this is not for me.
Why did you feel like it's not for you?
Because remember, like the only part I was good at was the part of designing clothes and making clothes. But then there was also maths, calculations, which
Sure.
I wasn't good at. So I was like, this is not for me, because I was doing well on the other side, but now the measurement sides and the calculations were just not for me. So I dropped out, and I did not like it anyway. I wanted to be a journalist.
Yeah.
So I was like, I told my dad that I want to drop out, and then I'll just maybe find work for now, then study part time, pay for my own fees and whatnot. But can you believe what is only happening now? I'm only studying now, only now, after so many years.
They say God sometimes allows delay, but he never denies. So it's okay.
Okay.
Imfundo ayikhulelwa
Yes.
isiZulu, which means that you can never be too old to gain education.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first time you fell in love?
Oh yes, I do.
When was it and how did it feel like?
I do. Okay, I think I was like 14. Ne? No. Actually, I was 13. But it was that love, like that love.
School love.
Yes, you don't even hug the boy, you don't even kiss, but you are so in love with him.
Yes,
So I
yes.
remember.
And would you say that was your real first love, or do you think in your adulthood then you had a proper first love?
To be honest with you, I think my second partner, that's when I was in love. The first one, I don't think I was really, really in love, because I didn't know much about love. I was young.
And how old were you then, the second partner?
The second partner was, I think I was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And how long did that relationship last?
It took 6 years.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a proper high school sweetheart.
Yes. 6 years.
Maybe explain to us what happens in high school sweetheartism, because we hear about it in movies. We don't realize that there are people who live it.
We met in while I was doing matric.
Okay.
Yes, we were at the same college. We went to College of Cape Town together, and then even after college, we dated for like 6 years. He was the love of my life. I thought he was going to be my husband, by the way, that guy. I was like so sure putting me and Mamlo.
Take me through that relationship, man.
Okay, it was one of those, Guti. Okay, we met on the train, by the way. Like I was using train to travel to school.
Sure.
So I didn't have a space to sit. So I was standing up because the train was full. So the guy was like, no, you come sit down. And I was like, okay, thank you. And it was like, I know your house. You're staying in number 16, Dagobusi Street, and stuff. I'm like, hey, boo, does it like? And he's like, no, I've seen you, but I was scared to approach you. You know,
Yeah.
because Dinale face, I don't know, like, if you don't know me, like, you think okay, maybe she's like difficult to deal with because,
Yeah.
you know, I'm always serious. But once you get to know me, then you will see how this person is not even difficult. So we met on the train, then we fell in love immediately, to be honest, because we met on the train, like 2 days later, went on a date, then the rest was history for like 6 years. He was my best friend.
So throughout you studying and dropping out, he's there for you.
Yes.
He's understanding you. He's loving you.
Yes.
Year 3, year 4, are you still feeling like you loved the same way? Or are there challenges that you start observing?
Actually, yeah, that guy loved me. Like, he loved me. He was, when we were staying in a location, right? A Kailija, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he was not like a typical Gussie boy. He will take me out on dates, movies,
Wine farms.
Yes, Valentine's Day. He will buy me a gift, my birthdays, anniversaries. Like, he was one of those because he was he was raised in a family where there was love.
Okay.
Yes, abazali bakhe, they were so in love and happy. So nje, he knew how to love. But then the last year, that's when things started to change.
What changed?
He starting to have new friends, going out a lot, drinking. Because growing up, I was very innocent. I was one of those like
Reserved.
I didn't go to parties. I didn't go drink. I didn't do a lot of things. I only started doing those things later. So now he started drinking, going out to parties, and I didn't like that life. So you go alone. Sometimes I won't see him for like 3-4 days, and then like what you're like now I could see the pattern. Would this person is seeing someone because you just disappear, not take my calls, and my heart I was hurt.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was the. Like
the one.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the relationship that where you had your first son?
No, actually, like I think a year later after you broke up.
Okay.
That's when.
So you tried again with somebody else.
Yes, mina utando shame. I'll never give up on love. Asoze.
That's interesting. Because perhaps that could also be a reason why maybe you give yourself too much to love.
To be honest, now the thing is now, after that guy, like my first love, I got to learn because I thought I meet Ulungelo today, we date. Ulungelo is gonna commit to me. We're gonna date for like years. And then, like, after having my son, I was like, okay, now you can meet and then date for like less than a year. Then it's over already. And then you meet another one. Like, so I got to learn now. Okay, there's players. And not every time when someone says I love you, they mean it.
Yeah.
So I had to learn. I had to now loosen up and let go of that Sandy. So with things, every guy that she's going to date is going to last forever.
After the first love of your life, we'll call him that. I'm assuming now you're like 23, 24.
Yes.
You're having to navigate life all over again. Did you ever get married after that in the process?
Never. Never, not even like
not even close.
Not even almost lobola or yeah. But in 2022, I met a guy who wanted to marry me like on the spot. Like we met online. He saw me on social because I'm also a content creator, by the way. But I'm more big on Facebook, even though I'm lazy these days. I'm no longer doing content so much like I used to. So I met this guy online. He sent me a DM, and then he said he wanted me to work with him because he's got a brand. Like, so like, no, can you just like meet up for coffee? And then when we met, then he told me, no, actually, I like you so much. When I see you, I see my wife on you and what. So we dated, but then he was a divorcee. So I could see like he's still. Because I wanted when I get married, I want to do it with someone who has never done it. Just like me, who's going to be excited, just like as I am. No, I've done this with Ban used to behave like this. That's the reason why we divorced. So I was like, maybe he's not ready to move on. So we ended things, but now we're good friends.
Hey family, quick one. As you know, our podcast is all about growth conversations. It's all about igniting your power. It's all about healing the inner parts of who we are that are difficult to deal with and difficult to manage. As we do that, we'd like your assistance in growing the platform by you subscribing, by you liking all our videos. It helps us to reach greater audiences and change more lives. Do continue enjoying the episode.
And then the guy.
Do you not feel like though you that standard is a bit unfair because you've fallen in love, you have your own child, we are no longer young. Don't you think though that you're a bit harsh to divorced people and they deserve another chance?
No, I do believe that they do deserve another chance as long as you're ready. Because we can't be now in a relationship then every minute. No, don't do it like this because Banbani, we
used to do it
separated
like-
because
Okay.
So I was like, no, because now and like the idea of umshado, suddenly you have negative things to say about umshado. That's I see it as something beautiful when I'll be like, no, umshado, it's nice when only during the honeymoon phase but me now want to get married. I want to fall in love. I don't want to think about the past, which now I have ubanban in the past that I've you know. So I don't know. I'm not judging divorcees. If you're ready, like, and you over your ex and then you healed, then maybe I can give you a chance. But don't bring the past now in our relationship.
Don't bring the baggage and carry it
Yes.
into a new relationship. One day in 2023 or 2024, you'll correct me, you decide to respond to an audition for a television show called A Pastor Wants a Wife or Pastor Wants a Wife, which in not so many words is a television show which follows a man, an individual man, who is looking for a wife. And it's a reality show format where a number of bachelorettes are sent to go on dates and try to be the one who is suitable for this man. So television production themselves chooses a person according to whatever characteristics. Then they look for women whom I believe they deem also fit the characteristics that this person wants, who will be compatible with this person. Go through all the psychometric tests and processes that they go through to see if you fit for the process. And you say, I'm putting my hand up and I want to go through this. Firstly, why did you put your hand up?
Okay, the thing is, Lungelone, these days, like, dating is different because now you meet a guy at the mall, he's going to ask you out, just for like a day or two. Then he's done if you're giving him a hard time, you understand that? So, Mina, I'm very different. I'm kind of old school when it comes to love. Mina, I want you must ask me out, just go on a date, get to know me better than what now, okay, we are share today, then tomorrow, when are you visiting me? Can I come visit you at your house? And men are very scared to approach women these days. So, I was like, no, what, other than going online to deal with the scammers about Tinder and stuff, let me rather just go to the TV show and this person maybe is going there to find a wife, obviously, so he knows what he wants.
Yes, he's certain about what he wants.
You know. So yeah.
So that was actually a green flag. Ukuthi, I'm going to a platform where a person is decisive about what they want. They're not here to play games. And also, as Usandi said as well, I'm decisive that I want a husband now. I'm not here to play games. I'm not fresh out of high school and young where I still have time to play games. So that was your mentality. First day you meet this man, on or off camera, did you have a feeling in you that says, this is my man?
To be honest with you, Lungelo, the first time I saw him, remember we met him in church, right? And then we were not sure which one is it because we were blended with the church.
Sure.
We were also wearing the uniform.
Sure.
So we never told Wuti, okay, that's the guy. So we had to keep saying, Wuti, no, maybe it's that one, maybe it's that one, maybe it's that one. So, but I saw him, okay, the way he was going on, like preaching and dancing, and he was trying to impress, like, okay, this is the one. I was like, okay, he's fine, but he's good looking. And he's a bit young. But one thing about me, I don't suffer from ageism. As long as you below 5 years, like above 5 years younger, I will give you a chance.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, that's him. And then, okay, from a distance, it was good. But I didn't really like, Uti, this is my person. I don't know. I was just doubtful until we had dinner, the first dinner where we met his mom. Actually, when we had dinner, Lungelo, ne, that was the very first time we met the pastor. The speed dating, now I'm giving out. The speed dating was like a reshoot. I don't know, the production was not happy with the fact that we met the pastor with his mom for the first time. So we had to like just do the reshoot of a speed dating thingy. We already met that time. It was like few months after the first meetup, So first time we met, he was with his mom. Still, I didn't feel anything towards him. He was just okay. And yeah, I didn't have any feelings towards him from the first like dinner with his mom and the rest of the ladies.
We go home, Pella, and tell our friends, hey, oh, unjani usibanibani, oh, benjani. Do you remember what call or text you told your best friend or your sister or loyo mngani loyo?
Okay, I told my cousin, my cousin, Guti, by the way, I met the guy, but there's also a sangoma, uligqirha, And my cousin was like, when the part of Isangoma, she wasn't happy with that. And I told my best friend in Cape Town, okay, the guy is now is a sangoma, also like a bishop. So my friend was like, okay, let's just give him a chance and see what to unjani, because you can't judge a person based on what they do. So go to Isangoma, just like give him a chance. So yeah,
I think that's an important factor though, because perhaps it's something you couldn't recognize then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have faith conflict there within yourself? This is not a faith I practice, or is it a faith that you practice?
Okay, yeah, that part I like it because I've been wanting to explain that part. Lungelo, I'm a child of God, right? I believe that God loves me so much. I've seen him in my life. But I was raised by a man who sebenzi. My dad was he was not a sangoma, but he was someone who knew how to. He knew immediately. This is my people who come to our house and say, I'm sick, I need the bodlela of this. My dad will mix imithi and just give them. And he will also give me imithi to son, so mele ufuthe, mele unzi this and that. You understand? Because my dad was a believer of imithi. Ekaya will find like imithi. He also had like his own corner in the house where you find imithi. There was also money there and imithi yakhe, And my dad was bekapahla in zamasiko. I had imbeleko at the age of 26. I had imbeleko, so rituals were done at home. Do you understand? But now, so as I grew up, I was like, no, what? There's Amayeza, which is imithi. There's God. But I saw God. When I prayed, I could see the results coming quick, and I would see God showing up. I was like, no, what? Let me rather focus on this one. Mm-hmm. And because the more when I used imithi, I didn't see like any progress in my life or any difference. So I didn't have faith on imithi that much, like my dad was. So, but with God, I saw he does respond. He does deliver. When I pray, when I ask him for things, he does deliver. So I'm a child of God. God loves me so much. I know that for a fact. But that does not give me a right now to judge Uti when you are using imithi. So because I was raised by someone who also means imithi. Even as some of the family members, they still do use imithi. So now I still have relationships with those people, which are my family, who are using imithi. Do you understand?
Sure.
So I don't think I'm in a position to judge and say, Guti, because now you are using imithi, I can't be friends with you. I can't be, as long as I know now, Uti believer gwindoni. Do you understand? As long as I know Guti, that's where I pray. I bow to God, nothing else.
But in a relationship, when we are forming a union such as marriage, the ethos of the family, the faith center of the family, in some situations, it becomes a problem if it's not the same.
Yeah.
Did it not scare you that the center of our faith wasn't going to be the same? Because it's one thing if it's a friend, if it's a cousin, because you guys are not united as one, as per the Bible that you speak of says. Were you not worried that we do not believe in the same things?
I had to wait until we have time to sit down, me and the guy, to explain what Minage, I don't believe in imithi. So what's going to happen now? Because I don't use imithi. Imithi for me is a big no, not because I hate it, but I've tried it and it did not work for me. But I've tried God. God showed up. Do you understand? So he was like, no, I won't have a problem with that. As long as you support me when I'm having maybe like a ceremony at home, you'll be part of it. Even if you're not going to perform the rituals, but I will expect you as my wife to be there to support me.
Did you not though say on the show to a particular lady that she's being too strict, being super born again, being super Christian. So because right now somebody will say you being a hypocrite because you were judging a person who's born again and who condemns the use of imiti or condemned the man because he's a sangoma. And here you saying, but you can mix the two. Are you saying you can mix the two?
It depends on you.
Okay.
If you feel, me now as Sunday, so like I said, Guti, I don't think God is the because I feel Guti uNkulunkulu is this person who's so hard on people, unreasonable. So I see God ngendlela, unlike other people. You understand? And also when I said to that lady, Guti, to Katla Guti, the abazalwane, they always think Guti they have a VIP seat on heaven. It was not because I was judging her, but I was just annoyed of them keeping asking me, Uti, Kanisani. So it's like the ladies were not getting into why I'm still on the show. Like, it's like, I don't know, they had this thing of, Uti, maybe Zoshashan keep your show in. And then another time went by and I'm still on the show. Do you understand? So all of them, they would ask, Uti, so what's going to happen? Because the guy is a sangoma. What are you going to do with that? But she's still on the show as well. She's a full, because I believe Uti, the first one, sangoma, let me run for my life. But she stayed. She wanted to stay. Even when she got eliminated, she was crying. Do you understand? So I didn't get the part where she had like now to always keeping asking me the same question, even off camera. So I was so annoyed with that same question all the time. Okay. How Sandizwa when in so what's gonna happen? Like so I was just annoyed, to be honest. I was very annoyed with that question.
Did you fall in love with him?
With the pastor? Of course I did. I was a gone girl.
After how long after meeting him for the first time did you fall in love?
Okay, remember we met for the first time and then we will only meet now during the shootings and whenever like had private conversations off camera during that time, because remember we met during the Easter weekend, right? And then we didn't have his number. We will shoot like we have a date right now and then we use separate transport and we won't even have like time to say yes, you know. So even after our last date, because many people are saying, "Guti, Mina," I said on our date or one-on-one date, I said to the pastor, "Oh, the night, the date was too short. I wish you can continue the night." People are thinking, "Guti, I meant that." It was just a silly joke when he said, "Guti, also you are funa the whole night." I was like, "Yeah." And then we just went. He went to his own transport. I went to mine. I didn't have his contact number. I knew nothing about him at that time. Do you understand? Sure. So we only met, the guy only had my number after he went and visited my family. Okay. Right?
This is how long after the first time you met? I'm just trying to
get... I think now it's 2 months.
2 months later, yes. He now has your number.
Yes.
And he contacts you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that was before we even went now get to his home again for the second time, me and the other lady, Ukamo. So we started talking now on WhatsApp, like to chat, and before we went to his home, right? So, what was the question? When
did you fall in love with him? When did you realize that I'm in love now?
Okay, so I went to visit him in his home now off camera, like during production day break, right? Because he lost his uncle, so I went to visit him. He asked me, by the way, Guti, like, please come over, come see me. After the fight that we had, I was like, I'm done with this guy because, like, I was like, I'm not getting him because he disappeared, first of all. One weekend we were supposed to shoot, he wasn't calling us, he didn't explain himself. I was like, hey, this person udoji, let me rather cut ties with him. So by the way, he called me with the Monday, can you please come over and visit me because I need to explain when they get in, you know. Like I was like, no, I'm not coming there. Like I'm not coming. He was like, no, please come, it's safe and whatnot. Like just because my uncle just passed on, I'll explain what happened during the weekend. So he begged me, I was like, okay, you know what, just send me your location. And then I went. And then when I got there with this family, obviously, Kushoni, where this pity busy, you know. And then that's when I got to spend time with him. Like now, there's no cameras, there's no one else, there's no production, just the two of us. So I started to have a liking that time, not to fall in love, just a liking after like having conversations and getting to know each other off camera a bit. So I started to like him. Then 2 months later, I went to visit him now at his hometown where he's coming from in Mpumalanga, which was now in August.
Yes. And would you say that is the falling in love part? Because I want to see when the switch happened.
Okay.
This is when you went to Mpumalanga.
Okay, so after the Soweto, right, we chatting, video calling, we
Yes.
chatting now over.
Seniyajola nje.
Sesiyajola manje, ne? But we haven't. There's no sexual thing. Like nothing happened on my first visit. As people say, Guti, I went to visit him and then I slept with the guy, fall pregnant. It didn't happen like that because remember those family members. They go busy. You understand? So now we're on WhatsApp, video calling each other, talking on a daily basis, calling each other, and all of that. Then now. So and then I kept saying, ngizokuvakashela lapho, yabo, ngizozalapho. He was like, no, please come over. And I'll say, okay, I'll come, then end up not going, you know. So now in August, I think, I don't remember the date, but it was August. I said, I'm coming. He's like, okay, cool, come. And he thought I was lying. But it was like, no, I'm not at home, by the way, but my mom is there, so you can go. And then I'm now see you tomorrow. He was with his Gobela in Newcastle. So I was like, okay, I'm yes again. Then I packed and I went. Then I found his mom, and then I only arrived the next day in the morning.
Okay. Seeing his mom, did it make you feel like, no, I belong in this family? Did you feel welcomed and appreciated?
Yes, actually, his mom was very kind. Even though I could see the shock on her face when I arrived. All the way from Joburg. I could see, okay, but she was kind. Okay, now she showed me a room. Go sleep there. Offered me food, but it was late, so I was full. I slept until the next day. That's when the guy arrived in the morning.
This whole time from Easter till August, is there no red flag that says dodginess? Or in looking back, you think, the flags were there, but maybe I was too in love?
To be honest with you, Lungelo, the flags were there in terms of like, let's say sometimes he will video call me early, like usually, or maybe later at around 10 p.m. And then sometimes you just do it early, like around 6. You know, I'm like,
good night, more 5.
Like more 6, like good night. I'm like, why? No, I'm going to we busy in Ndumbeni. Emakhosini, you calls it Emakhosini. No, okay. I'm gonna be busy in Emakhosini, you know. So amongst Emakhosini, my phone, I don't use it. And I was like, okay, maybe I should come there and see the Emakhos so I can understand what because I have no idea. So like, no, then he explained, no, I was busy with this, and like sometimes show me proof I went to like, no. And okay, then until I went, like I wanted to see okay, Vele, what is happening? What if maybe this person is staying with someone they like, because you never know, you know. But then when I got there, I found his mom, and you came the next day.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started to fall in love, because the guy was like, guys, remember, a person that can be bad, can be very bad, but there is that maybe like 70% of a good side in a person. So that's it. That's only the part that I fell in love with, that 70% part, without knowing the 30% maybe.
Sure.
Do you understand? So it's not like I just ignored everything, you know, like, but because there is a good side on him, to be honest. Like there is a friendly side, a person that cooks for you, make sure that you get whatever you need, emotional and all of that, going on dates, but there is a 30%, which is, that's where the deal breaker came from that 30%.
Which month did you fall pregnant?
I fell pregnant in October.
So September, October, 2 months later.
Because I went to visit in August, right? I went to visit in September. I went to visit. He came to Joburg in October, beginning of October, and then Magala Joburg. Then I'll be there, like it is home in Soweto. I'll spend like a few days there. So I think that's when I fell pregnant. In October, when I'm doing my calculations now, because at first I thought maybe it was November, but now I was like, nah, I think it happened in October. And then he came to Joburg in October, and then I went back. I went to his hometown again after he left. Maybe after a week, I went to visit him again in Mpumalanga, and then I stayed now. I think I went towards the end of October, right? And then I left now at the beginning of November. That's when we separated. Like I was like, this is a breakup. I'm not seeing this guy again after that last visit.
October, October, you guys are now intercoursing.
Yeah.
Sexually active. Is there no part of you that is feeling conflicted, Uguti? The manner in which we met here, I know there's somebody else he's still with, because the manner of the show is that he's choosing between a number of women to find his ultimate woman. One, are you not conflicted on that part, that there's more than one of us here? That means if I'm having intercourse with him, he's having it with somebody else. And two, he's a pastor. Should he be having intercourse before marriage? No.
To be honest with you, Lungelo, they broke up with the other lady, by the way, because I knew the thing is, Ukam got engaged during the period, right? She got engaged and she told me about the engagement. She's engaged, she's now happy. So I knew Bona, they are done. And also guy told me they broke up, they're no longer in communication. But they call that thing what if, you know, they call I don't like they call that thing what if, but I was like, no, let me just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I'll see what happens later.
So the other lady got engaged with somebody else.
Yes.
While you guys were still in production.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Genzeka.
Yeah, Genzeka, apparently.
She still went on to shoot with production as if she's single?
No, she did tell production, she like, remember we had a catch-up date?
Yes.
So that's when she brought the news. Now the production, guys, I'm engaged, but obviously they had to edit the part. Yeah, others they knew. She didn't hide it. She told them she was engaged.
What ended everything for you? Because you're telling me that in November you were like, I'm fed up with this. What makes a woman like you who seems to me like she understands red flags, she understands her worth, she has standards, now say, no man,
To be honest with you, Lungelone, the reason why we broke up, it's not what people think. People think, maybe it's because he's a player. Maybe he is a player, I don't know, but obviously he was not going to tell me that, and he was not going to show me that side of him. So he kind of like opened up about something. He told me something very personal, right, that he's struggling with. So, I mean, I felt I don't have an emotional capacity to deal with that. So I was like, it's not for me. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the journey that you need to take alone.
Sure.
Like, it's for you. So, but then sadly, I cannot share it because I don't believe the Glinda Baguti. Let's say we're dating, you and I. Now we broke up. Now I go to the world and tell them, by the way, una linkinga.
Yeah.
You understand? I don't think it's fair for you on your side.
Sure.
I know about you some vigela, some funa. I don't want the guy. I'm done. I'm super done. But I need to respect him, right? Because remember, this person has kids. Unomdana who's in primary. Maybe I think she's in grade 2, if not grade 3. So imagine me like saying, baba ke usona. So like eskolweni bazomthita abanye bantwana. Do you understand? So I need to think for abantwana like I don't want the kids to be bullied, and also I need to respect him because he wangtemba and wangtshela whatever he told me, you understand, and it's not like actually like it's not something that is just that I've never dealt with. So I was like, it's not for me. Like, I don't see myself dealing with this, so I'm sorry, like it's not gonna work for me. And then also, and that time I was still in love, to be honest. I still loved him. When after he told me that, I was like, ish, this thing is big, yo. I told my cousin, would you now she was like, Skak, you know. But then umundu that made me to let go of the guy, Kamambela, is the baby mama.
Okay.
His baby mama. I don't know whether we ex or maybe the Babuyele Nemanja. I don't know what's happening between them, but she's the one that made me to let go of the relationship because she reached out to me, girl. She sent me like a WhatsApp
paragraph,
your voice notes, about almost 100 voice notes.
Podcast,
podcast. She wasn't fighting. She wasn't. I was showed, where did you get my number? You know. And she was like, no, apparently guy borrowed my phone, right? When I went to visit, my first visit in Mpumalanga. So like I was like, son, so can I use your phone? I just need, as my phone is dead, whatever, I just need to call, make a call. I gave him, I didn't pay attention. So ngamuzwa kuluma, and it sounded like a very bit of a formal conversation, but you know? And then, so apparently after, once he was done with the call, he sent a message to the lady, please don't call this number back, you know? So Ugel kept the number until now, November. That's when she sent me a WhatsApp. Guti, listen, Sandy, hi, my name is so and so. I'm the baby mama. I was like, okay. And then she asked, are you with the guy? I'm like, no. Why? And then that's when she said, I would like to talk to you about certain things. And she told me things.
Are you privy to tell us?
I need to respect the lady. Like, sadly, I need to respect, because she never said I must share her business. But
so I want to understand the depth of what would make you say, it's that bad. So if you can tell us to the intensity of badness, perhaps, without disrespecting her and her confiding in you. Like, if you could make an example of it's just unbearable things that he's done.
It goes back to what he told me, right? Uguti una inkinga I saw, right?
Yeah.
So now the lady now like brought it up that Guti, by the way, there's this problem, right? And I was like, oh, really? He never told me about it.
Sure.
And then now, like, the lady wasn't happy in that relationship. Apparently, they were together for 9 years. A lot happened, like a lot that made me to say, "Good, that's not for you.
Yeah.
You need to let go." Like,
Whew. The finale happens of the show where he's supposed to select a person that
Yeah.
he's going to marry. Obviously, production knew that he was not going to pick the other girl because she had broken up. They had broken up.
Yeah.
She had been engaged with somebody else.
Mhm.
So the assumption was that he's going to pick you.
Actually, the production knew he's not gonna pick me as well because I told them we are done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was shocked of the whole act of standing up and saying "Uthi phakamam kambakbone" and all of those. And I was like, hey, but what's happening? Because you and I are done.
Yeah.
And when I don't know if you watched the first episode of the finale, because they are so I'll ask Uthi Sani, so where are you with the pastor? I was like, no, pastor and I dated. We met, we dated, went on dates and everything. But now, on my last visit, we came up with a decision. But I'll allow him to tell you guys what happened. Because I thought it was by the way, Nosani, so we decided to break up.
Yeah.
And then, shock of my life, now Muntu Segane ring and standing up and acting as if he's going to propose. I was like, okay, maybe I missed something. I don't know. Because I knew there's no proposal.
Sure. Why did you hide that you were pregnant?
Okay, because remember I found out I was pregnant on the day of the finale, right?
Yes,
In the morning.
Yes.
So there was not really a time, and also I wasn't sure what so I needed to think first before telling, because there was something that said maybe you just like keep it to yourself and just not tell the guy, or because I wasn't sure if I want to keep the baby or not. Do you understand? So I had to give myself time to think first before I can let him know.
And what did he say when?
And also, what I was trying to avoid is that now it's the finale, right? It's the day where he was supposed to make a decision, of which, even though I was confused with Kanjan because we already broke up. So I didn't want to like me and manje saying, "Oh my God, maybe I'm changing my mind because now I'm pregnant. We can't break up," or something. Like I was like, no, let me just show my kubeke, and then after that I'll tell him the news.
And when did you tell him, and how did he react when you did tell him?
I told him 2 days later after the finale. I'm pregnant. Actually, I didn't tell him. I told his sister, and then she's the one who delivered the news to him. And then he called me and said, my sister's saying this. And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, no, like I need to go to a doctor just to confirm. Then I went, and then it was confirmed that I was pregnant. And then he was like, okay, now. So and then Sole was like, okay, Sunny. So I was like, okay, now by that time I already decided that I'm keeping the baby because I told a few of my family members. So it was like, no, if you like, yes, keeping the babies because I don't believe in abortion, so it's okay. Like, I'll be there for you and the child, like, but not like what maybe we're getting back together, Yongelonto.
He's carrying your hand as you go to these doctor's visits throughout the months?
No, not even one visit. I was alone the whole time.
How many months was this?
Okay, so I lost my baby on my 18th week. So which means like I was almost 5 months when I lost
5 months. Every doctor's visit, nothing.
I wasn't there.
Is it because you guys are no longer dating? You're not communicating? Is there a rift between you guys? Or would you tell him and he just...
No, we were communicating, but it was not like maybe once a week, twice a week, or once after 2 weeks. It was like not a day of like a thing of, hey, how's your morning? How are you feeling now? No, it was just quiet. But we'll talk once in a while,
Yeah.
And then so the plan was on my other visit, which was the one young 13 January.
Yes.
So he promised he's going to come with me, but he didn't come. He never showed up. He didn't explain. I went alone.
And how did it make you feel when he didn't show up? Was there a part of you that was ready that he's not going to step up?
Like I think I did mention, but I did not have any expectations from this guy. To be honest, guys, sometimes you look at the person, hi. Let me rather just like not expect anything because you can see ukuthi umuntu unjani because you're dealing with you dealt with the person like during the relationship. Wambona ukuthi umuntu unjani. So I had no high hopes of him like being there or holding my hand and going to the doctor. If he showed up, I was gonna be happy because I mean support is nice, guys. Like to have someone next to you while you're going through pregnancy, that's the best feeling ever. But he didn't show up my first visit. He was quiet.
Do you think that telling yourself that he's not going to show up was sort of a good way with dealing with the pregnancy alone and coping with it? Because it's not the right way to be doing things. It's the mother and the father should be there throughout the journey and in raising the child. Looking back, do you think you were just trying to cope with the rejection? Because he was rejecting you in a sense.
Like I said, Lungelo, Mina, I've learned this person, and because if I had like, I hope he's gonna come with me all the visit. I was gonna be a frustrated pregnant lady,
okay,
who was disappointed the whole time. So I was like, understand this. Well, this is your child. You're going to raise him alone. If he shows up, you're gonna be happy. I mean, support is very important, like I said. And I was saying that because I'm a strong woman. I can do this on my own. I'm not strong. I'm very soft. I'm very. Mina ngiyakuthanda ukunakekelwa, do you understand? But I could see ukuthi chances of me being ukunakekelwa, Shem, highly impossible.
You said you lost your baby. I'm so sorry about that. Can you take me to the last few days before that painful ordeal?
Okay, I lost my baby. Okay, what happened is that on the 9th of February, right? I was at home alone, chilling in bed, and then I just felt something coming out like warm water, rich thingy. Then I went to check on the bedroom, what is happening? And then it was like a small amount of liquid coming out. And then I went back to bed and I called him, the guy, to tell Guti this happened. He was like, no, I don't think you should stress yourself. I don't think but just like wait a bit and see what happens. Okay, I was like, okay, cool. And then I went back to bed. Then now, like a few minutes later, then like now it was too much. Like it was like a lot of water, man, like just coming out. So I had to cover myself with a towel, and I was panicking. Now I had to call an ambulance. I need to go to the hospital. I was even scared to use maybe Uber because what if something happens in the car or whatever? So I phoned the ambulance and I also told Muti this is what is happening. So he was like, okay, cool. Let me know once the ambulance arrives. So I waited for the ambulance and then it came. Then I was taken to the hospital. Then when I got there, they checked the baby. The baby was fine. The heartbeat was there. And the doctor even made a joke to say, good, I maybe when like I don't think we anything serious, Then I was like, okay, I was relieved for a moment. And then a few minutes later, same doctor is telling me now, as in you're gonna have to use one miscarriage, you're gonna lose this baby. I was like, yo, Kanjani, but you just gave me hope now. Now what is happening, And it's like, no, you're going to lose this baby because baby cannot survive in that condition. And I was like, no, but go upstairs, like the senior doctors, they will check you. Then you see what, and then I started crying because I was like, like, like I'm not ready for this. And then the way I was crying, the nurse had to use the wheelchair to take me upstairs because I was just not okay. So when I got there, the doctor confirmed, like this baby's chance of him surviving are very slim because of this and that. She explained. And then you have two options. You can either terminate the baby, which is the best suitable option. And then the other option, which is highly, like, it's 0 to nothing chances, like, but we can give it a try. Maybe on the weekly basis, we'll just check you. We monitor and see if there's going to be any progress or any changes. So I was like, you know what? I want the second option. The one to just monitor and see what happens. But she was like, okay, no, go home. Spend the night and sleep on it and come back tomorrow with a decision. I went home and I phoned baby daddy. I told him what happened. I was like, no, don't believe doctors. Doctors, they're not always right, So just just wait until give it a try. Like don't panic, don't listen to doctors and whatever. Then I went the next day. I told them, I want the second option. Then they admitted me then Kisbele, and then they kept checking the baby on the weekly basis. The heartbeat was there all the time when I went to the sauna.
And then you eventually lost your baby.
So what happened is that they were hoping that I'm just gonna maybe have like normal miscarriage, but it didn't happen. I think I spent there like almost 3 weeks at the hospital. So all the time when I went to check the baby was still fine. There were no signs of Guti. He's ushonile, but they kept on Guti now. The baby's weak. The baby can't move. The head is collapsing. This and that. Like, so I was like, can't you maybe just push it to like 20 weeks or 24 weeks? Then we take it out and see what happens. But they were like, no. If we do, the chance of the baby surviving, he's going to die regardless, you know. So I was like, no, let's see, let's wait.
This is like, now you're like 4 weeks in hospital.
Yeah. Oh, like 3 weeks. Actually, it was 3 weeks.
And where's the pastor then?
Okay, for the first few days when I was in, on the day when I got admitted, he was on his way to Cape Town. And then he told me that he's going to come back during the week, like on a Wednesday or Friday. Not sure. But then he never came back. We had an argument on a Thursday, which was the 13th. We had an argument, small. I don't even know. I can't even tell you Guti why. Like, it was just became moody and a bit rude. And then ngathula and nangakhulumi naye nawathula from that day.
Silence still.
Silence.
Week 3. Silence still.
So I only spoke to him 2 days after I lost the child.
Oh. What is his reaction then?
Okay, so remember, the doctors waited for the baby to for me to have the natural maybe miscarriage, but it did not happen. So now they had to, they advised me that I need to terminate. I need to take the pill to terminate the pregnancy.
So they're inducing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, they gave me the consent form to sign to say ukuthi ngiyavuma. So I was like, no, let me just keep it a bit like ngazulisa. I know ukuthi ish. As in, but then 2 days later, I had to say, okay, fine, I've signed it. And then they gave me the pill, went through labor pains, delivered the baby. Obviously, he wasn't alive, and which was very traumatic and very sad moment, especially when you're alone.
Sure.
So, yeah. And then 2 days later, I phoned the pastor and told him, Guti, I lost the baby. This is what happened. And then he just asked me, so when are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. It's like, okay, sharp.
And that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
No response after that. No. What's the procedure when one loses a baby?
No, he just like he and so he only like tried to call me after I went to the other podcast. I woke up with his missed call in the morning, and just one missed call, and I didn't return the call. And then I think 2 days later, he sent me our pictures like that we took, and it was like, "Thank you for everything." And I just read, and I was like, I wonder what does this mean anyway? But I didn't do the follow up. I didn't focus on that because I knew what he was trying to do.
What was he trying to do?
He was trying to. Maybe he thought I was going to say no. Maybe explain myself with no. When I because Galagu. Like, he was trying to make me feel bad because he said thank you for everything. So I think that everything was like thank you for going to the podcast and expose me or whatever, you know. So maybe he thought I was going to explain myself and say, "Which no, the reason why I went to the podcast is because Galogu wena." Like it was trying to make me feel bad, and it didn't work because I was like, So that was it. Yeah.
Do you regret falling in love with him?
To be honest with you, I don't regret falling in love with a guy because when you fall in love, there's no promises, there's no guarantees, right? What is going to work out. But I just wish the part of me losing a baby didn't happen because that's the worst. Otherwise, if like it was not me, like the part of me losing a baby I was not going to regret anything. But now it's not nice. It's the worst feeling ever. I'm not sure Pelanini, but it's not nice.
Do you feel like you ignored red flags that were there and you need to take accountability for ignoring them?
Of course I did. I did, yes. Now that I'm looking back and watching the show, like the way he was like indlela bekakhuluma ngayo man, like when he was responding in the questions, and like even his body language was just not. But because remember, we only watched the show just like everyone, like once it started, so I was not there during his scenes, you understand? So yeah, I do believe Guti Vele. I was like, I don't know how to explain, but I was so, hey, you were never gonna say anything bad about that guy. Shame, I'm just being honest. Like you were never, to me, that guy was so perfect. Like, even when you say hi, I always felt the need to defend him, to say no, but you know why I think I did that? Just because the way he told me about his like childhood traumas, so me now I'm that person. Yeah, once you give me a sad story, shame, I'll be like, yo, hi man,
maybe your protector.
Maybe it's because of that's the reason why he's behaving like this, because look, he went through A, B, C, and D, so that is why he's, like I'll just overlook most of the things, even in friendships, like not only like in dating, but I'll just like make excuses for Moon because now you gave me the sad story, right? You told me, no, when I was as a kid, we went through Indosona, so this happened to you. So I always make excuses, but I think I overdid it. Like I was just like, no, shame, hi man, he'll be fine. Like trying to understand him and Yongelond.
Do you, now once again reflecting, do you believe he truly loved you?
To be honest with you, I don't think so. I think he just loved the idea of having someone like me. Because the thing is that with me, Lungelone, okay, as much as like Abantu, the way they keep saying, hi, the guy was not even into you. The guy was like trying to make me feel, I don't know, like maybe they say Ustudla, but they even call me Ustudla, Ustudla was, the guy didn't even like Ustudla in. One thing about me, Lungelo, once you get close to me, even if you can be friends, the warmth that I'll give you, the love, the comfort that I give to people. So I think he just fell in love with that part of me. Wuti, this person, I'll allow you to cry. I allow you to be sad. I listen to you when you talk, and like no tando, like I'll give you love, whether or you're my partner. I'll just be there for you, like, and I don't judge. You can tell me the biggest thing, emhlabeni, I won't say as long as you past yako, as long as it's something that is on your past, I won't judge you based on that. So I think that's the idea he liked about me, but I don't think he really loved Usandiso as a person, and I don't think he was ready to have umuntu fana nami. You understand? Because mina, I don't know, man. Like I give you all when we're dating, and I also expect you to give me back the same energy. Do you understand? I don't just like would give what I now you must. I expect my man to be there for me, because now like there are things that I told him like about myself personally, isn't just personal, and he tried to give me support. He showed me that side. He can support me. He can be emotionally there. He also did not judge as well. So I think that's when I fell in love. As he's a good listener, and he doesn't mind to speak about his feelings, and he allows me to be myself. I don't have to act as if I'm someone that I'm not when I'm around him. I'm comfortable and all of those things.
As a believer, do you believe God was at the center of this relationship?
No, he wasn't. I don't think there was God saying anything to me. I was just going with my feelings because I'm liking the guy. I was just like I was a con girl.
He comes back now and he says, I'm sorry, I want to make things right. Perhaps not to be in a relationship with you, but just I'm sorry with how I handled things, how I handled everything. Is there room for you to forgive him?
The thing is, if he comes back now and says sorry, why now? Like after, okay, I'm still hurt, I'm still going through it, but I think it's a bit late for him to come back and say, I'm so manje. Like I'm in a journey alone, so, and I'm used to it. So him coming back, he won't be genuine to me. It's gonna be like, okay, you're just coming back because now maybe you bugeli podcast, or of which I doubt if he will come back. That guy it doesn't work like that. He doesn't have like. He's not a person who just like, because now shame, she's so sad, oh my gosh, no. He's not like that. He's a very nonchalant guy when he wants to.
Yeah.
He decides we have uba, like we have banjani emotionally. Like he's not a person who also feels, oh my gosh, she's hurt. If he wants to feel like feel but he's not a person who touch on like he's just uqinile, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end of our conversation. Do you believe there are decisions you could have taken that could have worked in your favor and not left you in the situation where you are in now? Because right now you are dealing with a lot of pain of having lost your son and not being supported. Do you feel you could have taken better decisions as a woman in a relationship,
Of course.
such as?
Such as using protection, make sure that I don't fall pregnant.
Yeah.
Right now, I just want to be okay emotionally. I just want to get to a stage whereby, obviously, the loss will be there for the rest of my life. I don't think it's something that you will forget. I will forget, but I just want to get to a point where I just spend like a day without crying, sleep without having to cry the whole night, blaming myself. I just want to live my life again and be a bubbly person that I was, and just continue living my life as a happy person that I am. Because right now I'm very sad. I'm a person of jokes who makes people laugh, but now I find myself not even being able to share a joke. I'm just like a very sad person at the moment.
As we close, there's a lady out there, young, 24, maybe at 38, maybe 45, who is single and is tired of dating because they've gone through so much pain. Dating hasn't served them. Instead, they keep on crying after giving themselves and their love to a man. How must they date differently moving forward based on the lessons that you've learned?
Sure, that's a difficult one, to be honest, because remember, most guys, when they approach ladies, they come with good intentions. Like that's what they say. That's what they sell out. They sell us as ladies. But I think we just need to relax and just let things be, and it's going to happen. If God wants you to get married, you'll get married. If God wants you to have long-term partner, you will find one when the time is right. You don't have to like now go look for it and be like, no, I need to date. I need to be in a relationship. Just find other things that to keep you busy, and then love will find you. You don't have to go and look for it. It's going to find you.
Sisandisa says love will find you when you are pursuing things that are fulfilling your purpose, not for you to actively go and chase love, because you might find yourself chasing the wrong people, because people will lie to you when they can see that you're even displaying elements of being desperate for love. Sisandisa, thank you so much for coming to our platform. Talking helps. Maybe some people will think, "Uhambe khuluma." No, talking helps. As long as it's directed properly, as long as we bring back God to the center of the conversation, so that we come back to the source of our authenticity. So thank you so much for coming to the platform. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We will keep trusting God for your healing.
Thank you.
It's been a privilege to have us Sunday. So the show is Engineer Your Life, and I'm Lungelo KM. I'll see you in the next episode.
Kholwa emandleni onawo.
Oh my, we're finally doing this. What does EYL Africa represent? It's about standing in your power. It's about, in isiZulu, it's kholwa emandleni onawo, which is our tagline. You will see it on the back of my t-shirts. It's about believing in the power that you have, believing in the power that your God, your guides have invested in you. Shop our socks, shop our t-shirt, and yeah, just keep believing in yourself. EYL Africa.
Now available on EYLshop.Africa.